Everybody, and welcome to today's video. And in today's video, I'll be discussing the very real possibility that Democrats managed to vote, or honestly, the Senate votes to convict Donald Trump. And I think that this is still very unlikely. I don't predict that it will happen because a lot would have to happen. But it's even in like the last few weeks, the possibilities of it happening have grown exponentially. It's now at this point a very real possibility. So in green, I have all the Democratic convictions. So essentially every Democrat in the Senate. The only Democrats that I would see that are questionable are Kirsten Sinema, John Tester, and Joe Manchin. However, all three of them voted to convict Donald Trump back in 2019. Actually, I guess it was 2020, early 2020. The impeachment, the House impeached him, I believe, in 2019. But I think that the actual the Senate voted in 2020. But I think that they will probably I don't see anybody that voted to convict in 2020 voting to acquit this time. So as you guys can see in red, I have all the possible Republican convictions, not all the possible ones, but a lot of them. And so a lot of these might surprise you. These aren't for certain. I was over here on the New York Times, wherever senator stands on convicting Trump, and undecided. There are a lot. So I essentially have basically every undecided senator in there except for one. I have another thing. This has actually changed just in the last few days, so I will refresh this page just in case it hadn't updated. Okay, it is still the exact same as it was before. So Republicans that are undecided: Mike Crapo and Jim Risch in Idaho. Mitt Romney, he's almost certain to convict, I think. I don't see him not convicting in Utah, so that's essentially a done deal. Deb Fischer and Ben Sasse, Jerry Moran. I'll talk about all of them, by the way. Bill Cassidy, Rob Portman, Pat Toomey, Lisa Murkowski, what am I saying? Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski, and Dan Sullivan. Now, all these Republicans are in this area, are in the undecided column in the New York Times. As you can see, Bill Cassidy, Susan Collins, these six, they did vote, I believe, voted to proceed with the trial. I don't see any of them. I don't see anybody. I think that they're all the safest votes for the Democrats, or for, I guess, convicting. But then I keep on forgetting to say Mitch McConnell. And Todd Young of Indiana. Well, I think that they if you read all of these, I think that there's a decent chance that all of them could convict. Maybe not some, such as Young. I'll be looking narrowly at the article of impeachment related to incitement. And Sullivan, people like that, may not have, who are saying that that they're gonna vote based off of the evidence. I think that previously they would have all probably been people that I would have acquitted. Maybe not Cassidy and maybe not Young, but most of them. But now, given what the Democrats have been able to do, the evidence that they've been able to put forward, I think that there is a very good chance that this does become a very real possibility, that we do see the GOP change their minds, because the Democrats have been doing a very, very good job of convincing, or I don't want to say convincing, they've done a very good job of putting forth the evidence. I was watching CNN earlier as this was happening, and someone was saying that, and this is not necessarily very significant, but it just kind of does go to show that we could be seeing votes from even the most conservative Republicans. They saw James Lankford apparently needing to be comforted by Steve Daines from the videos and the evidence put forward, because it's what the Democrats have been able to do is they've been able to really trigger that. They've been really able to use the human side of Republicans, and really they've been trying to, I don't know if that's the right way to say it. They've been trying to, use this in ways that would trigger Republicans' emotions to convince them to vote, to convict President Trump. So I don't think that Lankford will, and people like that. I doubt that Lankford would vote to convict, but that does open the door for some other senators, And I will be discussing, because I think that honestly, Democrats, like I said, are doing a very good job of this. So let's assume that all these Republicans do end up convicting. That's for Democrats' best case scenario. This acquit over here needs to be 34 for Republicans to be able to do it, which means that Democrats, of these 4 toss-ups, can only let one go. And I think that most of all of these toss-ups are essentially favoring the GOP. I think that they are all going to favor the GOP, and that the Democrats need to do very, very well with these senators. But I honestly think that's a legitimate possibility. So we can go through each senator. First off, let's start up in North Dakota. Actually, let's start off in South Dakota with John Thune. So we already know John Thune has said. John Thune has been. Actually, if we go look at this, John Thune said that somewhere. Wherever he is. I believe that he said that it was unconstitutional, though I think this will be a theme that we're going to see. Our members, irrespective of what they might think about the merits, just believe that this is an exercise that really isn't grounded constitutionally, and from a practical standpoint, just makes no sense. So he seems to be talking about the constitutionality of it, not only, but how it really makes no sense. That was fairly long. I don't want to say fairly long ago. I don't necessarily know how long it was, but more recently, Thune said impeachment manager is doing a good job of connecting the dots. So Thune, we already know historically has been fairly anti-Trump. There's a honestly, I would say better than not chance that he ends up getting primaried come 2024 or 2022. I think it is when his seat is up. But I think there's a very good chance that he ends up getting primaried. But I think that he is somebody that's obviously going to be a toss-up, because I would have thought that people like him would have been not necessarily leading this. I would have seen people like Mitt Romney, Susan Collins, and Lisa Murkowski leading this. But people like him kind of in this, I guess, like what we're seeing with Todd Young in this sort of thing in Rob Portman. I would never have thought that. I would have thought that he would have been at least, like at best, for the Republicans in this no response column, with Deb Fischer, but he is not. At the moment, he has been saying that it makes no sense. However, like I said very recently, he just said that Democrats are doing a very good job. I think, knowing John Thune, that there is a very good chance that he ends up voting for convict. I still think it's probably a toss-up. But this is just talking about what Democrats could be able to do. So that's John Thune. But then let's say we go look at Mike Rounds. And he's the other South Dakota senator. That's not how you spell Rounds. So we've seen him, Rounds, impeachment trial of Trump is a moot, doesn't see reason to convict. However, he also saw, and if we click on this, we can see the entire title, him say, South Dakota Senator Mike Rounds says Trump could be criminally prosecuted for his role in the insurrection. So we've seen him more or less contradict himself, and I think that there is still a good chance that he does. Similarly to Thune, I would say that he's probably a little bit more conservative than Thune, but similarly to Thune, I think we could see that happening. Now there are 2 left. They are where is he? Richard Shelby from Alabama, and then where is he? Is he further up? No, yeah, okay, he was further up. John Hoeven, I'm just saying John Hoeven, wherever he is, somewhere in here, from North Dakota. Here he is. I do not believe it is constitutional to impeach a president who is no longer in office, and in fact, the Chief Justice won't be presiding. Now, I think that, honestly, first off, Hoeven is the least likely to vote for impeachment. I'll say that right now. John Hoeven is probably, of these toss-ups, or to vote for conviction, he is the least likely of any of these toss-ups to vote for conviction, probably. There's a chance Richard Shelby, I think he's probably the most likely to vote to acquit. So he did say that. However, one thing that I do think is that just because people think that it's unconstitutional to convict him doesn't necessarily mean that they won't. because we can. If you thought that Donald Trump, if you were in the Senate and you were a Republican and you thought that it was unconstitutional to impeach a sitting president, yet you still thought that what he did was wrong, because he never indicated that he was wrong, or that he never or that he never incited the insurrection. He never denied that. He just thought that it was unconstitutional to move forward with the impeachment. And we already know the impeachment. We already know that it's been moved forward. So there's nothing really to do about that anymore. At this point, I doubt that, so actually this is interesting. I was reading about this earlier. Received a letter asking to be looked in the mirror. I think that he will honestly look at this very closely, about whether or not to vote for conviction. But if you genuinely think that Donald Trump committed a crime, even if you think that it's unconstitutional to move forward with the impeachment, the vote to convict Donald Trump is not a vote to move forward. We've already seen that vote, and a lot of people voted no. So, at this point, it's a vote as to whether or not they think that Donald Trump should be convicted. And I think that a lot of these Republicans, such as John Hoeven, could very easily decide, yes, he needs to be convicted, because, like I said, he never did say that he doesn't believe that Trump incited the insurrection. So we can go label Hoeven, although, like I said, I think that there's a very good chance that he doesn't. I think there's a very good chance that he is an acquittal. Speaking of North Dakota, there is absolutely no chance that, I forgot his name. I think it's Chris Kramer. I think his last name was Kramer. I forgot his name. I think it's Chris Kramer. So, sorry, I just forgot his name. But, I think that there is absolutely no chance that he votes out of Dakota. He's probably the only one that won't vote, to indict. But looking down through here, the final senator, Richard Shelby. This surprised me, because he's from Alabama, which is a very conservative state. I did not think that he was very moderate. He might have been. I didn't study too much up on Richard Shelby. So this was surprising. But, I obviously don't think that, Rob Portman or, Mike Crapo are very moderate, but they seemed like people who would be bipartisan with these sort of issues. So, I that surprised me. So I still think that there's a decent chance that he's favoring the GOP. However, as you can see, I believe we need to wait and hear the evidence. If there is a trial, which would be my third as a sitting senator, I would sit as a juror. And as a juror, I would carefully consider the evidence presented. Now, I don't know if that's just all talk. However, if it isn't, I think that there's a better than not chance that he does vote to acquit, or to indict, excuse me. Because the thing is, the Democrats did a very, very good job of making the case for indicting Donald Trump. They did very well when it came to, like I said, making that case for indicting Donald Trump. I think that if he genuinely is going to look at the evidence that's presented, and look at the evidence that's presented, and look at it in a way, not just looking at it, actually paying attention, and really using it to choose it, decide if he's really using that to influence his vote, then I think that there is a very good chance that he does vote to convict. And then if he does, and I will just go label all the GOP convictions in the conviction. Oh no, that's Roger Marshall. He's not going to vote to. I doubt it. He would vote to indict. But if this were to happen, if Richard Shelby, for me, is sort of the line, which after Richard Shelby, if he were to vote to indict, after that, I think after that line is kind of where we might maybe start seeing, I'm just going to put this in Republican convictions, Mike Rounds, or not Mike Rounds, what am I saying, John Hoeven, Steve Daines, Tom Tillis, we could see him decide to, Cynthia Loomis, Joni Ernst, maybe Mike Braun, I doubt it, but maybe Shelley Moore Capito, probably not, but maybe, this is where we could start seeing a lot of these senators. John Boozman, for example, probably not John Boozman. He would maybe be a little more to the right. But if Richard Shelby were to start voting, we would start seeing what have become the Rob Portman and Todd Youngs of this trial. We would see Todd Young and Rob Portman be essentially shoo-ins to vote, like to vote for indictment. But then after that, we would start to kind of see, I think, these people become the Todd Youngs and Rob Portmans of this, where it's like or Dan Sullivan's, where they might, it's uncertain. But if they were to, we could legitimately see this. Maybe, actually, never mind. I was going to say maybe really blunt, but I highly doubt it. But in all reality, most likely scenario, probably, obviously none of these people would, and them, obviously, like, these aren't Democrats in South Dakota. I'm gonna go try to label all these Republicans. No, okay. He is still safe. But in all honesty, it is still very likely that we do see, I don't want to say very likely, it's still likely, I guess, that we see, likely makes it sound like I'm saying that there's a better chance than not. There is a good chance, I guess is how I'll put it. There's 2 Republican senators that I haven't labeled, and or 2 Republicans that I've labeled as Democrats. Oh, Crapo and Risch. So I think that there is a good chance that we could see something like this. I think that honestly, this is not an insane idea. I think that this, with Mike Rounds being yellow, this is fairly likely. I think there's probably a better chance we see John Thune voting to indict than we see Mike Rounds voting. But it's not outside of the realm of possibility. Shelby could easily do it. Thune could do it. Rounds could do it. It's Crapo and Risch could both do it. It's not insane to sit. Deb Fischer, it's relatively unknown as whether or not she's just undecided or if she's just not gonna, or if she's like just not talked yet. But if she is with that undecided group, this is a very real possibility that we could see Donald Trump get convicted. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. Stay tuned for my next video, and I will see you all there. Bye!